Hello, everyone. Welcome to another segment of the Proactive Protection Vodcast with your host, Lenette Hillian. And she's coming to you today with another great podcast. How you doing, Lenette?
I'm doing well. And no,
Oh,
I'm not driving.
okay. All right. I was wondering. All right. Yeah, I
I'm
see the
not
car
driving.
scene.
That's a long
Okay.
story. It's a long story. The amount of links of things I would do to make sure that I am able to help you proactively protect yourselves and your loved ones. I had to
Mhm,
move locations because
mhm.
people decide they want to do construction at five something in the evening. So
Uh-huh.
I had to move. So I'm in my
Got
car.
Oh, okay. Well, eventually has technology improves, but they got self-driven cars now. So
I'm again, but I'm good with that. I
yeah,
don't
you
have to
good at
have
that?
that part. I'm good
Uh,
with that part. I don't need it to be
oh yeah,
driving
you
me
don't need to do
involved.
that.
No, I'm good
Okay.
on that. I'm really
Uh,
good on that. I really am.
well, you will be proactively protected. So because I'm sure the safety
Exactly.
features would definitely,
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah. All right. Well, hey, look, we're talking about today's topic again. What are your next steps? Right? What are
Mhm.
your next steps? And hey, she's been talking about for us having proactive protection and going through the different phases and things like that. Well, hey, you know what? This is her show, so I'm gonna let it go ahead on and take it away.
Hello, everyone. How are you? I hope you all had a great day today. So, we talked about building a legacy for your children. We talked about living benefits. We talked about whole life insurance versus term. We've also talked about final expensive. We talked about all these many topics. So, with that being said, I've just gotten to the tip of the iceberg. But what do you need to do now? So, your next step is we need to have a conversation, whether that's by Zoom, it can be in person. I can contact you by phone or what have you. So, if you complete the information via the QR code, that'll give me the information that I need. Because I do not want you to give me your information in the open because again I believe in confidentiality and I believe that it should be you and I that are having this discussion. So I want to keep that very private. So let me just do I'm going to do just a go back a little bit about some of the things we did talk about, just in case there's some of you who were not present when we were talking about those particular topics, or you just joined us recently. So, with building a legacy, that focuses on building a legacy for your children and being that they are precious to us. And those children could be those that are in your household. They can be your nieces, your nephews, grandchildren. It could be those that are even, I've had a parent and their child is an adult. And they actually sat down with me and we talked about proactively protecting their child, their adult child, who was over the age of 30. So don't just think if it's a child, I'm talking about those that are, we have from infants, the 5 years old, not those, not the ones that are under 17. Think about some others as well. So that's what building a legacy, which is important for us to do that. We also talked about living benefits, which are your critical, your chronic, and your terminal. And those have to do with more so about us living and the quality of life. So those are extremely important. We talked a little bit about those and what the differences are and how each of them has different criteria. But the other thing is, once we talk, if you were to have a situation where there's a chronic, critical, or terminal illness, there is a percentage of which you can tap into whatever your that particular option that we have you qualify for, that you can have a percentage of that based on the particular illness. That's why it's called living benefits, because you are living, and this is to help you maintain your to the best of your quality of life. And one of the last we talked about was, of course, final expenses. And final expenses have to do with when you do die, that your family is able to, you know, take care of whatever expenses you have, after your death. So that was the last which we talked about, and I know people tend to think about that's the only reason to have proactive protection, but it is not the only reason, because again, you can build a legacy for your children. It can also mean that in terms of living benefits, if you qualify for those particular options, and then your final expense in terms of when you do die, and then so giving the final expenses are important in terms of wrapping all of that up, all of you getting your affairs finalized, so that your family is able to grieve as well. So they're dealing with the loss of you, as well as being able to type those last whatever the loose ends may be. So it's the whole game. It's everything from birth until to death.
Hmm.
So that's how we need to think about it. I know you notice I don't use the word insurance, because people tend to think insurance is that's all it focuses on. It focuses just about death. And that's why I say proactive protection, because we're actually looking at from birth until death. That's what we're looking at. We cover you throughout all of that. So I want you to kind of just not think about it as insurance per se, but think about it as proactively protecting yourself and those you love. And that's most important to us. Our family is important to us. So why not continue to show that you love and care for them through proactive protection? And that's what it's about. It's about people we love and we care for.
Hmm. Now, what if you have those family members that you don't really care too much about, or so? You know what I'm saying? I thought I'd just throw that out there, and I shouldn't be that way, but it is reality, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that could be interesting. That could really be. That's a good question, though. No one has said, "Well, Lenette, you talk about those that I love and care about, and I may love them, but in terms of their final affairs, I don't want to be involved in that." And that is your choice. But I would hope that you would, if you decide with the building a legacy, and those you love them, and you also want to impact their life in some way. So just because you have and we know, I'm not, I understand, but those that you are even considering some of these options for are the ones that you want to impact their life in some way. So
Okay.
that was a good question, Ron.
Yeah, I just thought about that, because all the unfortunate strife that's happening in families today, and compared to even,
Yeah.
back in the day, grandma and things like that. Hey, I tell
Hmm.
you, all right. Hey, how you doing, Miss Mildred? All right. Yes. Hey, yeah. Hey, she's someone definitely you need to get to know as well too. She has a great platform for you,
Oh,
Mildred. You
does
need to
she?
have her on
Okay.
your show. Yes. Yes. Let's be real
Okay.
about it. Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
But
awesome.
yeah, yeah,
Awesome. Sounds great.
and so, hey, I was just being real about it for sure. Again, for us
You
with
sure were.
families, hey, it's just again, how can I mean, it's just like I say, the family dynamic's not like it used to be for us
It isn't. It's
having the
changed.
family together. So we're more going apart and things, and so um, yeah, that's something to really to think about, though.
It is. It's a good question. What do you do in those instances? And so let's say someone approaches me on, and this is why it's important that you focus on the ones that you have an impact on and that you have a great relationship with. That being said, that if, let's say, someone did contact me and they say, well, I'm interested in a particular option, and we do the needs analysis, and after the needs analysis we go from there, and you go, well, this family member and I don't really get along, we don't really talk, we don't do this, but I like to explore an option for them. And so I'm glad you brought this up, in that anytime we actually do the needs analysis, and then there's a particular option that we want to submit to a carrier, you have to keep in mind that the person that is being you want to insure or proactively protect, they have to also sign any paperwork. So it's not that you can just say, I like to proactively protect my cousin. I don't get along with her, but I want to proactively protect her. Well, that cousin has to be in on the conversation. So they have to sign the paperwork, any type of the application to determine if you qualify or approved. They would have to sign as well because they're the one that you're saying you want to proactively protect.
Okay. Wow. Hey, if you're just tuning in watching this, all right. Hey, feel free to chime in as we
Yeah.
talked about what are your next steps here on the Proactive Protection Vodcast. So again, and if you'd like to reach out to her, go ahead on and scan the QR code up there. You can see it in the corner. All right. And it just has a list for you just to fill out. Again, she's not selling you anything, or just simply give her a call. All right. She's there in the Hampton Roads area, and
Okay.
she's also licensed in several different states, 5 different states, and I'm sure she'll go ahead and tell you that as well.
Okay, so my resident state is Virginia because that's where I reside. North Carolina, Texas, Georgia, and Maryland. But don't let that, when I say those 5 states, yes. But as I said previously in previous podcasts, that if you're not in one of those states, that again, there is something I need to do on my part in order for us to go to the next step. But that would be on me. So in terms of doing what I need to do. So don't let that be, well, I can't talk to you at all. But there's something I need to do first before we have a go to the next step. So don't let that hinder you. I just didn't know where you are. so
Yeah,
I'm able so I'm able to talk with you further. That's all.
that's right. Awesome. Wow. So again, what are your next steps? That is the title right now. Okay. What is your next step? What else do we have, Annette?
Well, and that was a good, like I said before, no one had ever said that. What if I don't like the person? And I would hope that you would not, say I want to proactively protect someone that you don't have a good rapport with. Because when it comes down to it, as I said before, they too have to be in on the conversation. So you can't just go out and decide you want to insure someone or proactively protect them and you don't have a rapport because again, they can refuse to go further with it.
Yeah, that's so. I think back in the day, yeah, folks was pretty much
Hmm.
insuring other folks and all,
Yeah,
and just
yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I
You
guess in
can't do
hopes
that.
of getting some money in case of something
You
happens to
can't do
them.
that. No, you can't do that because we
Right.
have to know what is your relationship. You know, we have to know that. So there's certain things we have to know because again, as I've told people before, we said before, I'm licensed in those states, and there are certain guidelines that have to be followed to the T.
So nobody can put insurance on you unless they have your permission.
That you have to be informed about. You have to be in on the conversation. You have to.
Okay.
So um, there again, yes, you cannot do that.
Right.
No,
So for those that
no.
were wondering,
And then they were like, "Well, I got several people." No, no, no. Not and as I tell people, I'm very transparent with people because I believe that there you've seen commercials or you've seen other things you've heard you in conversations with people of your own experiences, your family's experiences with being proactively protected, and you want to avoid it at all costs. I understand that, but my job I feel is, or my part in this is to help you navigate through that because some of the things that you thought could be misconceptions or they could be just that's part of what it is and you don't know all of the information behind it. So that's why it's best to talk to someone who's licensed to proactively protect families and individuals.
hmm
So that's why it's important that you do that because there are misconceptions about what it is. What does it offer? What does it cover? All of that. And you need to know that.
wow. Awesome,
Yeah. So
man. But
what are you gonna say? Go ahead.
no, I'm just going to reiterate again. There's the information right there. Again,
Hmm.
make sure you give her a call, or again, if you're watching live or so, feel free to comment, or ask for a question. All right. Again, it's just we're just having a conversation here. Yeah, go ahead.
Hmm. So I don't want anyone, and I mentioned this I mentioned this before about Lynette. Well, I have some medical that I don't think I'm not even going to talk to you about it because I don't even think it's an option for me. You don't know that. I mean, everyone who applies doesn't necessarily get qualified or approved. So let me say that. It's not that you fill something out. We go through the whole needs analysis, and we get some information, fill out the application, and submit it, and you're automatically approved. That's not how that works. Because just like with anything, there are particular guidelines. But again, you won't know that unless you have a conversation with me and just be just be above board and transparent. Because you don't know. You will not know. Because again, it's based on the carrier's underwriters. It's based on some other factors as well. In terms of what particular conditions you may have. It depends on the underwriters for the carriers, and I have there's a plethora of them to access. So it's not just one. There are several. Well, there's more than several. It just depends on a lot of times, your age, how old you are, and because there's certain um, options that are offered based on age. Excuse me. That's not always the case, but based on and what different guidelines are there. If you're a particular range for a particular carrier, then you may medical may not be required. It just really depends, like I said, on different guidelines. So don't count yourself out and you haven't talked to me. Don't do
Wow.
that. Don't talk to me. Don't count yourself out, Lynette. I don't think it's even possible for me. You don't know. You won't know
Unless you
until
take that step.
exactly. You're gonna have to take the next step. I mean, I can't do it for you, of course, but I can help guide you because I think a lot of the times we don't talk about, and Ron and I have talked about this before. This is an area that I know in often in our communities we don't talk about. We talk about
No, we
everything
don't.
else,
Right.
you know, and this is like it's like the very bottom. It's not seen as something critical or important, but it is. And life changes daily. You just don't know. You don't know. So even if you don't know what is going to occur, it's better to prepare for whatever may occur. So just have it's a different lens. It's a different way of looking at it.
Right. Yeah, again, being more proactive instead of
Mhm.
reactive. And
Exactly.
I think it's interesting. Hopefully, I can tie it together when you're saying how we don't really talk about this, but
You
we talk
don't.
about other things or so. Because I wonder if
You
it's
do.
just the
Yeah.
family dynamic structure that has changed now compared to Big Mama or grandmother back in the day, where they
Hmm.
was more family oriented or family centered than we are today.
I don't think it's necessarily, I just think that life has gotten extremely busy. I think that's what it
Hmm.
is. And people have encountered different things in their lives. And so, with that being said, then, this may not be as important because they have other things they have to attend to. Things have changed,
Hmm.
families change, structures, they're changing and evolving due to sometimes some life circumstances and some things that are out of people's control. But what I say that to say this, that that may be so, but when are we going to change the narrative on this? When are we going to proactively protect? We need to do that. And I know the other question would be like, well, Lynette, I don't think I can really, put it in, that's not going to fit in my budget. Again, you don't know that. You do not know.
Hmm.
and we talk about what is it you're willing to see it as you're putting this away as a it's sort of like a savings. I'm putting this away
Right.
for when I do need it. Now, if you don't ever need it, wonderful. But final expenses, you will need those if we have to, if your loved ones have to tie up those loose ends of your affairs. So definitely, if you want your children to have be able to go to school, or maybe they if they get scholarships and then they don't need that, but guess what? As I said before, it'll grow as they grow because it's compound interest, which is different, and it compounds, at various rates. But it's better to have that and maybe not need it than to not have it and then need it.
Right. Yeah. Yep. I've heard that slogan many times.
So,
Yeah.
so yes, and I do have, as I told people before, that I do have my proactive protection. I do have that.
Same here.
I have it. I have more than one. I have, and I know people will say, well, I have it with my job. And that's fine. I'm not saying don't. But what I'm saying to you is this: if you decide that you see another opportunity that is going to help you grow in your profession, and your proactive protection is just with your current employer, when you decide to leave that current employment, are you able to take that with you? If you're not the policy owner, no, you're not. You're not going to be able to do it. So what I say to you is this: I have one for with my job as well, but I also have one that is not dependent upon whether I'm employed with my employer. So I have both.
Awesome. Awesome. Again, this is the proactive podcast. I mean, excuse me, the proactive protection podcast. Again, every time I say it, now,
It's a
it,
tongue twister, right?
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Think
So
about it. Scan
so
the
you.
QR code, y'all. All
Hmm.
right. Hey, scan it or simply call her up. All right. Just have a conversation. Nobody's selling you anything. Just
No,
have a conversation because you never know what might happen from here.
you don't. And I try to talk about it as much as I can. I know some people go. She continue. I continue. Someone. I just don't want you to something occur and then you go, I wish I would have. And that's why I talk about it, because I don't want that for you. But if something does occur and you have not actually had some type of protection already, excuse me, still call me. No matter
Yeah.
what. I mean, no matter if something does occur, or I'll say it like this: I've had people that have reached out to me and said, something hasn't had to happen to them, but something occurred within their family or close friends. And
Hmm.
they say, I need to be proactively protected for my family because of the experience that my friend or one of my loved ones, what they went through. And I don't want to go through that. So then sometimes it may not happen directly to you. Something may not occur directly to you, but you may have it with friends or other family members or loved ones, and you want to proactively protect your family and yourselves based on the experience that they had and what they went through and the struggle they went through. And that too. That's fine too. So it's reactive in the sense that something occurred to someone else,
Hmm.
and you want to be proactive, and you want to make sure that you and your family and your loved ones, those you care, you hold so dear to you, are protected. So it can be in that sense too. So don't think it's just like, well, nothing's happening to me right now. But if someone else experiences, that's happened a lot. And people say, listen, I need to talk to you now. I need to talk to you because I don't know what tomorrow brings, but I know what my friend or my family member experienced. And I don't want to put my family through that. I don't want to do that to them or my
Hmm.
children. Or I want my children to be able to have different options, different choices when they grow up. And so as they're growing, it's building. And then once they're an adult, you know, then they can make some choices. If you decided, well, they own it now and they take it over, that's fine. If you want to maintain it, that's fine too. You know, but there's different options. We've got to we have to, as a community, we have to start talking about this. We have to.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah, definitely. Matter of fact, I think a good place to start would possibly even be in some of the churches or whatever.
Oh,
You know,
good,
you
you
know.
said that. I talk to everybody.
Yeah.
I do vodcasts. I talk to different groups. I
Hmm.
talk to churches. I talk to community organizations, whomever.
Hmm.
I come out, I talk. I can do a Zoom session with whatever you like. And of course, that's not a charge. So don't, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is to you is this: we've got to start somewhere. We have to start somewhere. So if it begins with me, it begins with me. And we need to go out from here because it's important. This is important. I've been talking about this for how long? 7 weeks, 8 weeks. It's
Hmm.
been, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been talking about it quite a bit because it's important. And I want you to have a resource if you do have questions.
There you go. Yeah.
You know,
Hey, information is king.
it is.
I
It
mean,
is. It's
that's
important.
yes, very important, and you have to see the value in it, and it has to resonate with you for you to make that decision.
Exactly. Exactly. So we have to think about this differently now. We've talked for some weeks and we need to do the next step. We need to go to the next step now. And if you
Mm.
decide not at this time, that's your choice. Perfectly your choice. But I want to help, I guess, prepare you as best as I can on my end and let you know
Mhm.
what is available to you and your loved ones and those you care about because that's important. And that's important to me. That's important to me that number one, you know what is available. I'm an educator first all day long. That's who I am. I do that. I've done that for over 15 some years. That's what I do. And that's been for adults as well as children, K through 12. So it's been both. But in terms of that, what are you going to do now? That's my question. What now? What now?
Mhm.
The choice is yours. You can get with this
You
or
give
do something else.
it. Yes, the choice is
But
yours.
you know, but I would hope that you would say you feel comfortable enough that you would give me a call or you would fill out the form via the QR code.
There it is. Um, we got a couple more minutes. Any last words that you want to say to the people out there? What thought that you want to leave with them?
I would say that don't count yourself out based on any conditions you have, anything that, now I'm not saying that it's not important, but that's why we need to talk and have a conversation and be above board or frank or open or transparent with me about. And I have questions to ask you. And we go from there. And of course, they're going to ask medical questions. They are. I mean, but don't let that hinder you. Don't. Thank you, Miss Towns. We need to get in touch.
Yes,
He has your
definitely.
information.
Yes, definitely. And
Okay, so we'll get in touch. We will.
yes, and I encourage you, yeah, Miss Mildred, definitely give her a call as well, because
Hmm.
you can have her on your show.
Yeah, I'd
It's
love to. I'd
and
love to.
and that's for anybody that's tuning in and watching that has a show that would like to
Mhm.
invite Miss Hillian on. Feel free. All right.
Let me
Yeah.
know. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Awesome. Awesome.
Definitely.
Uh,
Definitely. We'll definitely get on and get together because it's power in numbers. And it's going to require us as a community, those of us who do feel strongly about helping our community because of some of the things that we see going on when people do, die and things of that nature. In your own experience, Ron, you know what has happened.
Right. Yeah.
And we just don't want anybody else to experience that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Tell you, well, it's not a fun sight or so, but again, when you're proactively prepared, it makes
Mhm.
things a lot more easier.
And
Okay.
talking
So
to your family members about where everything is. So if you do have proactive protection, wills, whatever important information your family needs to know, let someone know where they can find it. And that will cut down also on some of the stress dealing with
mhm,
when someone dies or there's a sickness of some sort. Let people know.
there you go. Well, all
Mhm.
right. Well, hey, that's going to do it for yours truly, Miss Lenette Hillian, an independent advisor. And make sure
Mhm.
you definitely get in contact with her. Hey, she'll be
Mhm.
back with another Power Pack Power podcast. And so, hey, you all be blessed out there, and we'll see you again.
All righty. Have a good evening.